Hey everybody out there, my name is Dragnix, and Black Ops 3, oh boy. Now, I don't usually cover big games on the channel. I mean, I like going for the littler games, but even Black Ops 3 gave me a reason to take a look. I always enjoyed the zombie mode in it. And so, in particular with a PC port, it's like, okay, cool, they're going to add mods and things like that. Okay, you've got my attention. Needless to say, it's been a very, very rough opening for the Black Ops 3 PC port, in particular with the performance. Now, what you're seeing here is my machine, which I will leave the specs in the description below, but this is on all high setting at this point. High textures, resolution is 1080p, but it's also rendering in 1080p, and I'll get to that in a second of why that's important, because there are ways to do the resolution and then have it render in a smaller resolution, which seems weird at first. It's like, wait a minute, if I'm doing 1080p, why would I render it at something lower? Well, there's a reason for that, and it's dealing with, upscaling and downscaling in terms of performance. Now, as you've seen here, in terms of performance with the high resolution has been iffy at best. You see it drops to 30 frames per second there. It drops significant frames at portions, even though it's supposed to be capped at 60. And that's not the only problem. As you see, I'm turning around. That's the in-game FPS counter at this point, but it's a problem. It's a major problem. Now, I don't have the biggest of machines. I don't have the biggest and greatest of machines at this point. I mean, obviously, I had it was high at one point. It's probably mid-range at this point. Needless to say, even at high resolutions, I don't expect this bad of performance at this point. And when you become the demon, aka you become the demon in this case when you need to open up areas and things like that, it drops significantly, almost down to sub 20 levels. That's a problem, and that is indicative of a bad PC port, and in particular bad performance and bad optimization. Now, let's move on to the next portion here. Now, in this section, I turned down the textures down to medium at this point to see if that would make a reasonable difference. And it did make a small difference, but you still see there, I'm dropping down to 30 frames per second at times. I'm getting that a little less at this point with the medium textures in question. And you can notice a bit of a difference from the high textures. I am using the sniper rifle here at this point just to show off a little bit of the texture quality. But it's not horribly noticeable from high to medium. But again, you see here, as I go into the demon form, oh god, everything just drops off the face of the earth. It seems like lighting conditions, and in particular the weird lighting that they use at times with the sort of demon powers, really gives the game troubles. It's almost like the lighting issues are due to the engine in question, and I don't know what they could do to fix that. I'm unfamiliar with that section of programming at this point. So, needless to say, it's still got some performance issues. I mean, you do expect 60 frames per second on the PC. You would expect more 30 on the console, but even then, for a game like this, it should be running at 60, especially a shooter. Every frame in a shooter is going to make a difference at this point. But let's move on to the next one. Now we're going to take a look here. This is the medium texture still, but it has been down-resed 80%. So even though the resolution of the screen is 1080p, the actual rendered resolution is 80% of that. And I don't know what the number is off the top of my head, but you'll see here that even though I'm in a darker area and I'm still seeing those neon light effects, and I did make sure that, okay, is it the area that's causing the problem? No, it was pretty consistent along all the resolutions and all the settings in question in terms of performance. This one's doing a lot better. It is staying at 60 a lot more often than not at this point, although you can see that, it still doesn't look like a modern 2015 FPS at this point with the medium textures, and you can start seeing the low resolution in terms of rendering when you start getting closer to objects at this point. So it's still a problem. Now, is it playable? I would say yes at this point. In particular, it is you don't have the stutters like you do with the medium and high settings with the resolution in question. But let's take a look specifically at what they recommend in terms of the system that I've got. Oh, you're also seeing the demon here. Even the demon's still having problems. It is getting up to 60 at times, but at times you're still getting 45, 40. There's really been no other situation that I've gotten a real 60 out of the demon form until I went to this resolution. Now, the recommended settings that they had for my machine, as you saw with the details in the description below, is low on everything for textures and 60% in terms of the rendered resolution, which is pretty pitiful, actually. Now, again, I don't have the biggest beast machines, but, I've been able to run a lot of games on high resolutions with no issues. Even the newer ones, Mad Max, I didn't really have a problem with running at high resolutions with what I had. And, that did have some, big environments and a lot of detail to it. Now, while you do have a lot of different effects here, it just doesn't seem like the performance should be impacted this much in terms of, machines of maybe a mid-sized nature at this point. It seems like in order to get the best out of this game, you really need not only a beast, you need a mega beast in terms of getting a solid 60 FPS with high resolutions and textures, with using, larger field of view, maybe bigger anti-aliasing, things like that. And I don't understand where we've gotten to in terms of the PC community, where Activision thought that this would, sort of get by at this point. This game does have a mixed rating on Steam, and I will say, I've only played the zombies mode. It's the only thing I'm really interested in the Call of Duty series for, because I feel like it does do design elements well in terms of, multiplayer aspects, but not only that, it does give sort of a repeatable experience that's just fun, but it's sort of pitiful, isn't it? And it's got a mixed rating with about, I want to say it's like 40-60 towards the negatives at this point. It's obvious that the Steam community is not accepting this game at this point. And a lot of those reviews are saying, I'm getting a lot of stuttering. A lot of people are complaining that they're not getting sound on their portions, that they're seeing, not clipping issues, things like that. It is sort of a joke. Not only that, one thing that's really bothered me in terms of this release, and something that I just do not understand about modern day games, is the online components dealing with single player. What do I mean by that? Well, I had a wonderful run-in with Comcast earlier today. And I actually have to thank them for that, because I never would have, tested this if they didn't, go and do a little bit more work that I didn't know they were doing earlier. But I went down in terms of my internet connection in the middle of a zombies match. That kicked me out of my zombies match. Not playing online, mind you, just kicked me out a single player match. And okay, I'm like, okay, maybe I was online. It was, pretending like I was hosting a game. Let me play a regular game. Let me play a regular game of zombies. I can't. The only thing that's available in the offline mode is the campaign, and that's it. I don't understand that. If I wanted to play local split screen, or if I wanted to play, just single player zombies, I should be able to at this point. I don't understand why the game decided that it was necessary to disable that. And it's sort of sad, to be honest with you. I understand there's experience points in terms of the zombie mode, but, okay, if you have to disable that for me to play offline, just in case you're thinking that I'm going to hack it some way, then do that. Why force me to play there? Now, in this case, in the low resolution, I finally get a situation where the demon is always at 60 FPS, and I feel like maybe the reason why it's recommending the low settings is because of the demon. That, even in the middle settings that I had, the demon worked fine in terms of, performance, but, it still had its 40 or 50, drops at this point. Here, you're getting 60 no matter what you're doing. And again, you can move the FPS up to, 90, 120 if you want, but you need the system to do it. I don't know what it's going to take for companies to really take the PC community seriously nowadays. I feel like there are certain companies that are definitely taking it seriously. I feel like Avalanche Studios takes it seriously. For example, it was obvious that their port was, done well, and you know, bigger companies like Activision, Capcom, you know, we've seen so many bad ports nowadays that I just don't know what to say other than, you know, just avoid this for now. Avoid Black Ops 3 on the PC. Maybe the PS4 version is fine. And I mean, I almost wanted to pick up the PS4 version because I want to play with friends on that version of it. I wanted the PC version for the mod support that will come, but honestly, this game, even on the low resolution, I will, you know, be able to play it stuff, but it's not that much of an improvement in terms of the, like, sort of a World at War experience, which is a game that, you know, has been out for a long, long time now, and it's sort of sad that, you know, I can get the same experience out of that game. Yeah, maybe a little less graphically intense, but at least I know it's going to perform well, and it isn't a modern 2015 release at this point, which is, again, pitiful. All right, I wanted to give you guys a quick update on that. Now, you may be wondering, for those who like follow the Facebook group as well as the, you know, my Twitter handle, Dragnix Mod, if you don't know what it is, that I was going to take a look at I'm going to botch the name of this, Mushihishishama, the bullet hell game from Japan. I will be doing that. I'll be doing that for Tech Raptor, though. So watch Tech Raptor's YouTube channel for me doing that review, and I will see you all later. Avoid Black Ops 3 for the time being, guys. Hey everybody, thanks for watching. If you like this content and want to see more of it, you may want to hit that subscribe button on the left-hand side. If you like this video and want to see more of this content, take a look at this video on the left-hand side as well. And if you missed my last video, take a look at the right-hand side. Once again, thanks for watching, and keep on gaming.